What's up, everybody? It's Gill-boy here, and I'm coming at you with my first thoughts of the new Fantastic Four movie. As you can see, I just got back out of the theater. We're back in the Gill garage. Don't worry, there's not going to be that much yelling. I'm just kidding. Fuck this new Fantastic Four movie. It's absolute fucking garbage. I can't believe they would have the audacity to, let's be honest. The definitive Fantastic Four movie is Forte. All right, Michael B. Jordan is the definitive Human Torch. It's unbelievable that they would cast that poser from fucking Stranger Things to play Human Torch. This movie's fucking garbage, and I can't even believe it. Just go back and watch the Fan Four Stick. It's the definitive version. And by saying that, obviously I'm joking. Okay, gotcha. No, y'all probably knew I was fibbing on that one. But thank God we're not going to have to deal with any hardcore militant fans trying to say, well, this movie's not going to make as much money as that movie, and this movie, we need to bring back that universe, hashtag bring back Fan Four Stick, right? Oh, no, that's only for Superman. But anyways, we're here to talk about the Fantastic Four, and I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on it. So, I've made a couple of videos about the Fantastic Four as well, so please check those out, me bagging and boarding some of my favorite comics, and, just nerding out. And I have to say, all my worries and concerns about this film were dissipated within the first 10 minutes. You could see the love that the director had for the comic books. There was a lot of love for Stan Lee and the great Jack Kirby, and I really feel that if Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were still here with us, they would be very proud of this film. I think it would cause them to have a tear fall from their eye. I know it definitely had a couple tears flowing from my eyes because I never thought we'd ever see the day where a Fantastic Four movie would actually be good and comic book accurate. I don't really want to spoil too much of the film. I will definitely do an in-depth review later and dissect it and point out some of the actual just comic panels that they took from, the first 13 to 30 issues and showed you in this film, which is really, really cool. If you are a Fantastic Four fan, and when I mean fan, I mean like nerd, like you're obsessed with it, this is for you. They made this for you. It really feels like Marvel's actually trying again. And it sounds like it sounds groundbreaking that we actually have a decent Marvel movie again. Now, that's not to say that Thunderbolts wasn't good, because it really was as well. And, Deadpool and Wolverine was also really good. Although you could argue that's kind of a Fox, kind of Sony thing. So, a lot of people don't really consider that MCU. I don't really care to get into that argument or whatever, because I want to talk about the Fantastic Four. So I would just go ahead and say I actually like this more than Superman. And I know some people are saying they like Superman more than this, vice versa. I've been a comic book fan for years, and I've always liked both DC and Marvel. I've always preferred DC to Marvel, but I have to say the Fantastic Four, are my favorite superhero group, especially outside of the Justice League and Green Lantern Corps. So I might be a little biased, but for me, this was a 10 out of 10 film. I think this is actually the best comic book movie ever made. I'll just go ahead and say that. And now that's not to say that I will say, some of the CGI was slightly rough, but overall, it was beautifully psychedelic. It looked like Kirby's art from the comics come to life. It was incredibly psychedelic, and I just really wish I could see this in 3D, and hopefully I can before it escapes theaters. But I have a feeling it's going to be in theaters a long time. I've already seen this movie twice, and each time it was packed, and people cheered and clapped, and we're just having a good time. It seems like we're actually getting out of that Alice in Chains superhero where everything's dark and depressing, because this movie had a lot of bright colors. Like I said, it's like a 60s Marvel Fantastic Four comic book come to life on screen. It's like, finally, like I said in my Superman, somebody actually picked up and read a comic book this time and decided to be comic accurate and pull in stuff for the deep nerds. Like, they name drop some of Fantastic Four's favorite villains in this movie. And you don't necessarily get to see him. You get to see a few, but they get name dropping, so it's exciting. So that's really, took me by surprise. But I say it's the best comic book movie because it feels like a comic book, like even more so than Superman. I would say that comic book movies are back. I think I've heard some argue that we have ended the golden age of comic book movies, and now we're heading into the silver age. And I can kind of see that because, the golden age is iconic, and the silver age was when you start to get some of even those more groundbreaking, more modern comic book story arcs that are becoming popular and famous. And that's what this feels like in film version, though. Like, we finally have the technology now to where things are actually like 3D and good photorealistic stuff. Like, the graphics in this film are phenomenal. There's only a few rough parts with, I would say, Mr. Fantastic powers. And you could definitely see that they were too afraid to do his powers. So if I had to criticize the film, I would say, it would have been cool to have seen him use his powers like in the panels where his arms were all over the place and he was all like this squiggly tentacle monster in his lab working. And I get that would be kind of gross and uncomfortable, but it is. That's Reed Richards. He is kind of creepy and his powers make you kind of go, ugh, a little bit, But, that's just kind of nitpicking. And then I have some other kind of little minor problems, but it's not really worth mentioning. It's just kind of nitpick nerd stuff. So overall, I really do give this 10 out of 10. I know some people will say, it's like an 8 or a 9, but as a Fantastic Four fan and a comic book fan, man, I never thought that we would ever get something like this. Okay, I mean, those first 2 Fantastic Four movies were a guilty pleasure. Four Stick was unwatchable garbage. In fact, I watched that before I saw this because I was just so nervous and I just thought that this was going to be another, Marvel slop kind of thing. But it wasn't. It was actually really good. It didn't have any overtly political message. It was just, good versus evil. It was just a good Fantastic Four start. It's basically the Galactus run done from the comics, done on film, but just with Shia Ball instead of Norrin Rad. And I have to say, I wasn't too down with the gender-swapped surfer at first when I saw it in the trailer. And man, I'm glad to say that I'm wrong, that it was actually awesome. If you're a fan of 50, 60 sci-fi, The Queen of Venus, or, what's that other one that's really good? The Devil Woman from Mars, stuff like that. In Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, it feels like a 50, 60 sci-fi movie, and especially when the Silver Surfer, when Shia LaBeouf's coming down and heralding Galactus, it feels very Lovecraftian. She's basically talking about a cosmic god coming to the earth to destroy it, and you get this sense of helplessness. In Superman, you get that overwhelming sensation of hope and positivity. You get that in this film too, but when Galactus enters the pictures, it's kind of oh, are they going to lose? And so it captures that kind of cosmic horror arc from the comics perfectly. And, some people are saying, wow, I wish Galactus was in it a little bit more, but I think he was perfectly in this film. And even when he wasn't on screen, you could still feel his presence. They really captured the horror of Galactus, I feel like. And Ralph Ineson, or whatever his name is, he was perfect. He was perfect. He is Galactus. It's so cool to see him. He was so good. Everybody was their character. There was no different, character, they were the characters from the comic book. They were perfect. The Thing and Human Torch were always trolling each other, trying to fight each other. Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman were, madly in love with each other, but, Reed's such a nerd that she gets frustrated with him and all that good stuff. It felt so authentic to the comics. It was beautifully shot. It's amazing how awesome this looked. It's it also kind of feels like, Marvel finally figured it out. It's what makes these Marvel heroes so special is when you put them in that retro 60s aesthetic, because that's when these comics came out. So, it looks right. It feels right. It feels like Marvel. It feels like the characters you want to see. When you adapt them properly and don't change them for stupid DI reasons, then it's a good film. Okay, so hopefully they'll continue on this path with Avengers Doomsday. I was not looking forward to anything Marvel at all until after I saw this film. Like, it really feels like a phase one film. It feels like how Marvel was when it first started. And that could be because they're like, well, James Gunn's at DC now. His Superman movie's doing pretty good. So we got to actually try now and make some good content. And that's kind of how it feels like. And hopefully Marvel won't have you to have to watch 4, 8 episodes or 12 episode long season shows just to watch a movie again. Like, I think that's one of their greatest errors, is it's like there's too much homework to do. In this film, you don't have to see any other movie. You could just come into it. It's in its own separate universe that's like clearly taking place in like the 60s. And it's just beautiful. It feels like an old school Marvel film from phase one. Like, this feels like the first movie they should have made, then Iron Man, because anybody who knows anything about Marvel knows that the cornerstone of the Marvel comics and should be Marvel Cinematic Universe is the Fantastic Four. They are the first family. So it's cool to see the first family again on the big screen, but done properly. And it's not cringe. It's so much fun. I can't tell you how many people were cheering and clapping. And man, it's so good to finally go to a movie and just have fun again and escape, and feel more happy after you see it. Like, I already want to go see this movie again, and I've already seen it twice, but I really want to see it in 3D because seeing the surfers surf in space and, it's just so cool, man. Like, the graphics are immaculate. It's well acted. There felt like actual stakes in this film. And, it was just great. It was a good time. It's made me want to go into the Grand Library of the Lagoon and find all those old school Fantastic Four comics and start reading. They got some callbacks to issue 13 of the original series. So if you're a hardcore fan and know that, go see it. John Malkovich was going to play that character, but they cut him from the final film. And speaking of cutting things from the film, this movie's got a runtime of like an hour and 55 minutes. And it feels like 15 to 25 minutes were cut. And it seems like at least some of that is true from what we're seeing online. So I'm hoping there will be an extended cut, a director's cut, because it feels like we missed the Fantastic Four at least fighting with one other of their iconic villains, if not 3 to 4 more. So I would like to see that, and I hope that that's true. I know there is one villain that they cut, and that was played by John Malkovich. He plays the Red Ghost. So that's really exciting to have seen that on, or mentioned on a big screen movie, because like that's a deep cut nerd villain right there, So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you like this stuff, go see it. You won't be disappointed in it. I don't think you will. I haven't even, it just came out. I got lucky to see it a day before it came out, and then got to see it now. I had a nice little date with the wife, and we even had a Fantastic Four pizza and some Canada Dry and stuff like that. It was a great time. I've never had a more fun time since Superman, which has not been that long. But like, my point is like, it's just getting better, man. I don't want to say Marvel's back, because they could screw up Doomsday. I think it'd be safe to say the MCU's back or Marvel's back if Doomsday is a success. I really would. But I'd have to say that the Fantastic Four, the first steps, is a step in the right direction. I think if you like comic book movies, you like these characters, you like Marvel, go see it, you'll love it. If you don't like any of this stuff, obviously don't waste your time. I really don't. But even still, I would still encourage you to watch this if you like science fiction films. So if you don't like any of those, then obviously this isn't for you, so disregard what I'm saying. But if you're interested and you're looking to have a good time and you can catch a matinee, go do it. You won't regret it. You'll have a lot of fun. It's like, I never ever thought that we would ever get a comic book accurate Fantastic Four movie. I am so excited. I just feel like a huge nerd, Like, it just, man, I remember getting bullied in school for having Fantastic Four comics and Batman comics and Superman comics and Thor and all that stuff, Avengers. You'd have to hide all this stuff. Because if people caught you with these comics, with the Green Lantern comics, something like that, you got your ass kicked, man. Now everybody can. I saw so many people wearing Fantastic Four shirts. It softened my heart and made me have a big smile on my face to see how many people love these characters and aren't afraid to show it. And just, we're having a good time and nerding out. I heard all the nerd conversations leaving the theater and talking about the Fantastic Four lore and how they can't wait to see Doom and Doomsday and all this stuff. You know, it's cool. It feels like we're going back to the good days, back when Marvel used to be fun to go see, and it didn't feel like a chore, and you didn't feel like, well, I hope I haven't had to watch 12 freaking TV shows to know what the hell's going on in this movie. So, all that's gone now, it seems. It seems like they're kind of course correcting, which I hope that they do, and I hope they continue it, because I had a great time. Now, I would really would like either a prequel series or a prequel movie or a sequel film to this one, but I guess that's going to be Doomsday, and who knows, maybe in the future they'll do it, but man, I really want more. Like, I felt wanting more after leaving this movie. It's like, man, I want so much more Fantastic Four content. Like, give me this stuff of good quality. Like, I don't really know if superhero fatigue is a thing. I kind of thought it was, but seeing how many people have come out to see Superman and Fantastic Four, maybe superhero fatigue isn't a thing. Maybe it's just a bad movie fatigue. Like, maybe if you actually start making good films that are actually good and authentic and presenting the characters that people actually want to see, they will go see it and they will like it and give you money. But if you keep presenting characters that nobody cares about and then name calling everybody for not caring about them, you're not going to make money. That's just, that should be basic business 101, but who cares, right? Fuck the consumer and the customer, right? But anyways, go see this movie. It's really great. You'll have a good time. I can't wait to go see it again. And, in the future, look out for my full review of Fantastic Four and full review of Superman. Until next time, I will see you guys next week with some more unboxing videos, as well as music reviews and some video game streams. Until then, stay salty, stay spooky, and of course, flame on!